I'm ready for war.
You ready?
I'm ready for war.
This is episode number 14. So episode number 14, we're going to be talking about best editing software to utilize with your drone.
And welcome to the Overcast Podcast, because you obviously didn't know because you clicked on this video.
Right. They did
All right.
not know.
So the best editing software choices, right? And we're kind of coming from like a drone footage standpoint.
Very biased.
I feel like if you're watching this video and you don't shoot drone footage, you might not understand our train of thoughts, because this video is going to be titled the best editing software choices. And somebody who doesn't even know what a drone is could stumble upon this looking for the best editing software. So to preface this video, we're kind of going off of drones, right? And you know what? That title is definitely clickbait, because I don't think that there's a best editing software, but we're going to get into that. So go ahead.
You know what is the best? Skywatch AI. It is the best on-demand drone insurance app that you can get today, either on Android or iOS. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go ahead, head to your app store, download skywatch.ai.
I'm going to do that.
You probably should. You probably should already have it on your thing. But if you don't already have it, Skywatch AI provides you on-demand drone insurance that can help you in sticky situations with liability insurance for properties that you're flying over, or, you know, people, vehicles, whatever. Yeah. They also offer a monthly plan if you are interested in that, which gives you hull insurance only on the monthly plan. It's available in 47 states. And if you click the link below, that will let them know that you saw us talk about them here. There's also a weather widget on there. I use it sometimes just to understand the risk in my area. The higher dollar amount to fly, the greater the risk. Pretty simple process. Skywatch AI, encourage you to check them out.
Yeah, and you know what? A couple of things that I like to throw a little couple of things that makes them special after he's done giving the whole spiel. The biggest thing, right, is you get this safety score, and after you start to accumulate flights actually within the app, you begin to get a discounted price off of what you're going to pay. So as you use it, as you continue to pay for the insurance, and as you continue to fly safely, don't get any accidents, they're going to give you a reduced rate.
Can I do something?
Yeah.
You become a safe flyer. Because we don't have like sound effects, so it's like safe flyer.
Hit the sound effect button.
Sound effects. We don't have that.
I know, because we're low budget.
Low.
All right, so guys, editing software choices. I've got to say that I get a lot of people ask me.
That sucks.
I get a lot. I don't even know what he said.
I said Final Cut sucks.
God. All right, so look. I don't think that there's a best editing software. And this is one of the questions I get all the time, is what I used to edit my videos with. What would I recommend for somebody who's just starting out to start editing video with? And I don't have a ton of experience with all of these different video editing apps, because I've been on a Mac and I've got the best. I've got Final Cut Pro. So I haven't had to go and venture out and check out all of these other editing softwares, right? So I would say right now what I've used is Windows Movie Maker, iMovie. I've used Final Cut Pro, and I've used Adobe Premiere. What have you used? What is your...
So my scope of editing software includes Windows Movie Maker, Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, DaVinci Resolve, HitFilm Pro, and a little bit of Sony Vegas, which was immediately uninstalled.
Yeah, you know, my friend used to edit with Sony Vegas, and I remember I was younger and I was doing like these Call of Duty montages, and everybody edited with Vegas. It was like... when's the last time they've updated that? Is that still like a thing? Or?
It honestly, it still is a thing, because somebody I follow on Twitter, they shoot like videos, like they do their YouTube videos for a radio show, and they edit exclusively with what looks to be Sony Vegas or the current version of Sony Vegas.
Okay,
so some people still do.
I mean, look, there is so many choices out there. Yeah. And really what it comes down to is there's like a best editing software for you. So it's great because a lot of these actually, they probably offer some sort of free trial for you to use. And then you can kind of get a feel, see how you like it. A lot of them are also free. Like there's a good amount out there, like from HitFilm and DaVinci Resolve. I mean, there's free versions out there. But from what I can say from my experience, and I think we should talk about experiences first, and then we'll go into each editing software. I use Premiere Pro and I use Final Cut Pro. I bounce back and forth between them. The biggest thing I like about Final Cut Pro is on a Mac, it runs flawlessly. I can render out, now I've got a pretty well-equipped 15-inch MacBook Pro here, but I can render out a 4K video that's, say, 10 minutes long in 14 minutes. And it's incredible. And I really do use Final Cut Pro a ton for like my tutorial videos that I make. And when I edit these podcasts, I use Final Cut Pro. Now, if I'm looking to do something a little bit more creative, I'd use Premiere Pro because it allows you to really tweak the colors. That's my biggest thing, is color correction within Premiere Pro is great. I mean, when you edit photos through Lightroom, when you edit photos through Photoshop, you've kind of got those same tools within Premiere Pro, right? I mean,
yeah. And that was sort of like my turning point. It was about a year and a half ago. I was like off and on with Premiere Pro for a little bit now. And I had a Mac and I was just tired of the Mac. I think it was up here actually. It was last June. I was up here and I had my Mac and it was like the trackpad was failing. All this crap was going down. And it was just a basic, 15-inch MacBook Pro. And I finally said, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm going to start using Premiere Pro. I'm going to build myself a computer that I can edit from. That can be like a main editing rig that can just handle everything. And that's something you really can't do with Final Cut because Final Cut only works on Mac.
Hackintosh.
You can make a Hackintosh, but there's some caveats to that. And I just want something that would work, that was fast, crazy fast, and that didn't, make me broke. And that's what I got. And I have a pretty well-spec'd Dell XPS 15. Absolutely love this computer most days.
Before we started, we're talking like the yin and the yang. We've got the Mac.
It is. I edit strictly on Windows. You edit strictly on, Mac OS X and Mac OS.
Here's something else that I like about Premiere, and it's something that you've talked about too, kind of juggling between two computers, is that you can save those project files and you can come on a Mac and you can edit them, or you can go onto your Dell and edit them, or you can go anywhere. As long as you've got that file, you can edit it. Now, you can sort of do the same thing with Final Cut Pro if you've got these different libraries, but you can't jump over to a...
You can't work as a team. We can store files in the cloud, and if we wanted to edit the same project, we could technically do that with Adobe. Can't do that with Final Cut, I should say.
Now, here's a big thing about Final Cut Pro, right? And a lot of what goes into this is cost. Like, you're going to think about like, oh, well, all right, how much do these cost? Right now, I've got the student version of Premiere Pro, so I get all of their apps for $20 a month. That's ending soon. They only give you 1 year of that. Yeah. So I'm going to be paying the full $60 a month for everything. Now, I can't tell you, what, I'll do a little bit of research here, what Adobe's...
Just for Premiere Pro, it's $19.99 a month.
Okay.
For Premiere Pro. So I made the mistake of breaking out my applications one by one, which it is what it is. So it is a monthly fee. It's $19.99 for Premiere Pro, which I know it sounds like a lot, but when you were sort of like, I guess we sort of do this for a living, I guess. I edit videos and then I also do real estate, so I need it. So at the end of the year, it's literally a write-off. You can pay for it all up front, and they do give you a bit of a discount, which isn't too bad. But honestly, I just don't have a problem paying for it.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, for me with this this student plan, which I'm looking at right now, $19.99 per month, which is nice. But if you wanted to actually get what you get with the student plan, which is all of the apps that come with Adobe, you're going to be paying $52.99 per month. Now you get a ton of apps, like 20 plus apps.
You get Lightroom, Photoshop,
and all these other ones.
You got
things that I wouldn't even know how to use. Like
you get After Effects with that.
Yeah, you also get After Effects, right? So you really do have a good value here, but it seems like Adobe and a lot of these other companies are going towards this monthly fee, which I feel like now I'm paying hundreds of dollars in subscriptions per month. The reason I like Final Cut Pro so much is because I bought it for $300 and I have not had to pay since then. I bought it 2.5 years ago. And I've gotten free updates. I've gotten all these brand new features coming through for free, and I paid once.
So here's the deal. Being in software, like my main job is software. Here's the reason why things are paid. Development is dollars. And you're a customer. You bought Final Cut. You own Final Cut. You're done. You're not going to buy Final Cut again. But development, you want updates. You want the latest and greatest. Updates cost money because that's developmental manpower that it takes to put those hours in to determine what's the next approach or what's the next feature you want to see. So Adobe has the right mentality charging monthly just because they're constantly improving. You're always guaranteed your updates. You're always guaranteed very good improvements. This is leaps and bounds better than when I initially stopped using it. And Final Cut is too, but there's going to come a time where Apple may say, okay, we're going to have to charge our users now for an update. It's not uncommon to see app developers, even on the App Store, you would see like eventually they would charge.
If there's like a massive
update, they're going to charge.
I think they're still on Final Cut Pro 10 right now. So maybe if a full 11 were to come out,
I think if 11 comes out, you're going to be buying it again.
And that makes sense. So like if I've got 10 right now, and you know, if I'm a Final Cut Pro user, they will grandfather you in, and you'll be able to spend a less amount than totally buying it for $300 or whatever it is again.
But you also have to factor the hardware. So this Mac right here, that's a pretty spec'd out Mac. I would venture, not trying to throw it out there, but it is a Mac. It's all public knowledge. It's probably about what, $2,200, right?
$4,300.
Okay, what the hell?
So
I quit.
So no. It was at the time. It was the fully spec'd out. I've got a 2 terabyte SSD, which doesn't affect the performance whatsoever.
Let me get this straight. You spend $4,300 on a laptop, and you buy these cheap ass IKEA bar stools. My ass is hurting.
All right, look. The processor, 3.1 gigahertz Intel Core i7. I've got 16 gigabytes of RAM, and the graphics card is a Radeon.
What model processor is that?
I don't know.
Okay, so
I don't know if you can tell through there.
I'm not trying to say whose is bigger here, but let me pull this out here, because this machine, this is the Dell XPS.
Okay.
15. This is rocking i7. It's clocked at 2.8 gigahertz, but it boosts up to 3.7, so same as yours. 16 gigs of RAM, NVIDIA GTX 1050, not the TI, but 1050 in here. 500 gigs of storage. How much storage do you have?
2 terabytes.
All right. Well, what the hell?
I mean, that's an extra $2,000 right there.
Okay. 4K screen.
Yeah. Okay.
$14.99.
Does it have iMessage though?
No, I don't have iMessage. I pick up my phone or I use my watch.
Okay, we got to get back on track here.
But that's the thing. There's like, it's relative in terms like you're gonna have to decide your software. Like if you're a Windows user, you have really 2 choices in my eyes.
Okay. What?
DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut. Dude, DaVinci is not bad. For somebody who wants a free software that is professional grade, Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve is it's legit.
Now, here's the thing. If you're talking about funds pouring into the editing software you're using, right? And you're saying about, oh, well, you got to spend so much more for Adobe and you got to spend monthly and they're just making it better. You would think that Adobe Premiere Pro would be leaps and bounds better than Final Cut Pro, but they're right there. They're neck and neck.
They are neck and neck. So, and I don't know why.
Exactly.
I don't know why, but it's ease of use too.
And here's
I think
the thing.
Adobe's easy to use.
Premiere Pro, when you've got that on your Mac, I don't know if any of you guys out there have heard of this bug, but it has been blowing people's speakers to the point where they're broken. Like, you've got to get them fixed.
But that's only a Mac issue because, again, we don't like Mac users, so we would like people to shift their way over to Windows.
I just want to let you guys know that he's been talking about getting a new Mac. He's been saying, oh, I miss my Mac. Oh, I want to get a new Mac.
I've had withdrawals from time to time. I am human. I have withdrawals just like the rest of you, and I make a lot of bad decisions.
So now look, if you guys are going to be editing drone footage, right? For me, it's always about going through, dropping some music in there, adding some markers, and knowing where I'm going to add my cuts, right? That's kind of how I start every single edit. And then I get a little bit more advanced by going and adding those color corrections and adding the transitions. But the basis is there, being able to drop down some video or drop down a song. My workflow is to put the song in there first, go through and lay down markers where I think would be a good time to cut or add a transition, drop in the clips how I want them to appear, and then create my transitions from there and make sure that everything flows together. Now, that seems really easy, but it definitely is a little bit more complicated than that. But you can do that with like any editing software. Right. It's just about how complicated you want to get and what you feel comfortable with. Each editing software has got their own like niche like features that make them so much better than others.
Can you create bins on Final Cut?
You can't create bins, but you can create like subfolders underneath of your event, and then you can kind of organize your footage that way. So
I like that Premiere doesn't. So for Final Cut, I know it imports the footage actually into the program.
You can leave the events in place, so it's not actually creating 2 copies of it.
Because Premiere Pro, it doesn't pull anything into the subfolders. It just leaves it. So this is my source drive, the SSD, leaves my files there. I edit right off my SSD.
Same thing happens with and you have the choice when you import. You can either choose to bring the files over and copy them into the event, which might be good. I don't know when necessarily it would be good. Maybe if you've got your project on your computer, you're pulling off of your hard drive, and you're going to be traveling, it would make sense in that scenario. But for me, I'm always just leaving the files where they are, creating a project, and it ends up being like megabytes. Like it's never really over a gigabyte unless I'm editing something absolutely crazy like this podcast.
Yeah. So, and another thing to keep in mind is like a lot of people are probably new to editing. They are probably thinking about, okay, I've got a drone, I'm taking footage, I'm over just like dumping the SD card and setting it up. I want to eliminate all those choppy cuts and all that that wonky stuff that just makes footage look undesirable, which is really easier to use. And honestly, the learning curve for whether it be Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro is about the same. I would say it's linear in any event. I mean, literally, they're all basically the same. You have two fundamentals of every single editing software. You have a timeline. You have a playhead that displays what you're seeing in your timeline. And then, of course, off to the left-hand side, most of them have what we call a source play, where you can click on your files, preview them before you drag them in. That just saves you time. I think Premiere handles that workflow very well, very easy.
What always gets me confused about Premiere is having those two separate screens. It's nice that I know that I've got the one screen that shows me what I'm looking at right in the middle, Final Cut Pro. And as I scrub through, I can choose what I need, drop it down into the timeline, and then it switches over to a timeline view. So sometimes those dual screens kind of mess me up. And I feel like it's like if you're editing your project down here and then you've got like the source file up in the top left corner, it's wasting space. So again, it really all depends on your workflow, because that's something that really frustrates me, but for him it could be like gold. So it's all about kind of not necessarily making your opinion off of this video and going and buying a software, but take what we say, whether you want to try Final Cut Pro because it's a one fee of $300, or if you want to pay monthly,
or you download the Adobe Premiere app. It's a free 7-day trial. By the way, we're not affiliated with either or of these profiles. Just say that right out of the way.
Another thing, wait, hold on. We haven't talked about Adobe Rush.
Adobe Rush, yeah. Adobe Rush. I haven't used it very much.
I haven't used it.
Actually, let me say, I tried. I downloaded it. I brought 4K files in to the editor, and it was incredibly laggy when I tried it. So right there was an instant turn off. Another thing, too, is I know we're talking about video editors. If you own one of the newer generation iPads, and you want a really super, affordable option, you don't need a computer to edit. Yeah. I'm just going to throw a third caveat in here. LumaFusion on the iPad is just an absolute beast. I mean, I know creators that just edit their YouTube videos strictly off an iPad now.
If you've got iPad, that Apple Pencil is kind of like your mouse almost. You can get some really precise
color grade.
Yeah, it's really great. The only thing that would kind of throw me off is that you don't have the most storage on there. Now you can get up to like a terabyte or 2 terabytes on there.
Yeah, and I mean, you're going to be approaching like laptop, specs. I mean, once Apple gives us the ability to utilize like an SSD as a secondary storage,
you can't, dude. It sucks.
I mean, whoa.
It's going to be a game changer.
It's going to be a huge game changer, and you'll see more people. Because honestly, when I'm traveling, I had to bring 2 laptops this trip. One for work, one for personal, and it would have been great if I could have had like an iPad that just could have edited my footage. And then I'm just, no problem. Then it's not a big deal when I'm going through TSA.
Agreed.
They're looking at me funny. Like, why do you have 2 laptops?
Dude's addicted to laptops. Now here's the thing, right? Is that they come out with Adobe Rush. You said that it's a little bit buggy. It's a little bit laggy, buggy. Right? That's a first generation.
It is. It'll get better, but I mean, price-wise, you're paying $10 for $9 more. You can just get the full-blown, suite, the Adobe suite. The other thing to keep in mind is when you go to Adobe, the applications cross over. You can take your audio into the mixers. You can take footage to After Effects once you get versed in the software, or maybe you're versed in it and you're still on the fence. But like that whole suite talks to one another. With Final Cut, it only talks to Final Cut.
No, because you've got compressor and motion. Now, again, those are...
Okay, so motion is sort of like After Effects for...
Exactly. And they're both... I can't really speak on motion. I haven't used them, but they're also one-time fees. $50 for motion, $50 for compressor. So if you want the whole thing, you're looking at $400. You pay once. You never have to go and pay again. Again, maybe if they release some big update, you'll have to go and purchase for some sort of discounted price. But it's not a monthly fee. I bought it. I've got it. I can uninstall it, reinstall it at any time.
I also like... So what I've been doing recently, and I don't know why I've just now discovered this. Like, people probably laugh like for long-term Adobe users, but I am now queuing my videos. So I don't just hit export. I send it to Media Encoder so I can still do whatever I want on my PC, minimize Premiere, open up another project.
Yeah, it's sweet.
And it's so much faster exporting through Media Encoder than it is through Premiere. It's absolutely epic.
It's nice. And sometimes like I've got multiple projects I'm working on and I can just queue them up.
You can time them.
Yeah, let them all run through at the same time. Let my computer sit there and just churn out those videos. I found that Premiere does have a longer render time, and they really do give you a lot of like crazy export settings. Like you can customize it very well. But I find that I always overdo it, and I do like a 2-pass, whatever it's called.
I do CBR. So my typical export settings is constant bitrate.
Is that why your videos look so bad?
Oh, you're such a dick. That is not why. There's other reasons why. No, but you do constant bitrate. Why would you like 2 passes? So you're giving it a variable bitrate. Like, why would you do that?
I keep the same bitrate for both passes.
Do you keep it? Yeah. I don't know. I just use CBR. 1 pass is fine.
I've done like there's all these videos about the best export settings, and I've seen a ton of people recommend using 2-pass. So I don't know. That's what I've done.
I've seen people recommend 2-pass, but I'm like, it just takes more time. So CBR is just efficient. I guess I could try 2-pass. I don't know.
You basically have it takes double the time because it passes through once and then it passes through again.
I don't know. I've never done a comparison and tried to see if there was a difference in quality. I've not noticed a difference. What does make a difference in the quality is the bitrate you choose. So for 4K, I'm using 60 as my bitrate because that's the max that YouTube is going to play. I used to have it set to 100, but what would happen is I would get this massive file.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
And it was like 3 or 4 gigs. Okay, that's crazy. So for 1080p files, I'm using 30. 30 is the max bitrate that YouTube plays at. Yeah. And then 60 for 4K, and that's perfect.
Yeah, it's nice. Something that we haven't discussed, again, remember we're talking about drone footage here. You've always got the DJI Go app. You do. You can use the DJI Go app in order to create like a pre-edited video for yourself, right? Now, you don't have much control over that video. I haven't personally used it, but I remember I was with Brian and he was using it, and it can sometimes use footage that you didn't even want in there. Yeah. Like the algorithm is never perfect. In order to get the footage you want, in order to make it look the way that you want, you're going to want to invest in one of these editing softwares. And I think that to go with a free platform is a great way to sort of get your feet wet with video editing.
DaVinci Resolve is sort of, for me, like a combination of both Final Cut and Premiere Pro. It really is. And there's a lot of great tutorials. The best thing about all these softwares that we're talking about, and we're talking about specifically which you should choose, and really, like we were saying, really either one is great. Yeah. And like I said, DaVinci Resolve is awesome, but there's so many tutorials. There are channels specifically dedicated to just showing you how to use this. So it's not like you have to like struggle. There's plenty of support out there to figure out how to use these softwares. It honestly, just within an hour of watching, I think it's Terry, I forgot what his name, but anyways, he does Premiere tutorials. Really great guy, super simple to follow. He gives you the basics, and then you just keep watching more videos as you go. But just for drone footage, like that singular person who just wants to share something a little bit more epic with their family, simple basic cuts are going to go a long way. If I can suggest anything, simple, the simpler the better. I really think so.
So I would say right now, let's give you some recommendations. So if you've got a MacBook, okay, iMovie comes pre-installed on here.
Pre-installed.
I would check it out. It's a watered-down version of Final Cut Pro. It's free. Again, it comes on your computer. If it's not already installed, you can download it from the App Store for free. Now, if you're going to be using...
If you're using Windows, if you have a Windows device, download DaVinci Resolve. I promise you can't go wrong. The price is free. It doesn't get any better than that. It gives you a full list of things that are available in Final Cut Pro and Premiere. So, I mean, you're getting really the best of both worlds for free. They do offer a paid version. The paid version is $300, a one-time fee. So if you wanted to step it up and get like the pro features like noise reduction and things like that, there obviously is a fee for that. But honestly, I don't think you can go wrong. Right? Yeah. I really don't. And it's simple.
Yeah, so that my free pick, again, iMovie, his free pick is DaVinci Resolve. Now, if we're going to be talking paid pick, I would say Final Cut Pro for its ease of use. If you're going to be vlogging your whole trip.
If you're on a Mac.
Yes, yeah, you can't get it on PC.
I'm going to be Premiere all day.
I feel like we're like the Mac and PC commercial.
I feel like it. Yeah, but I look so much more intelligent though, I think. Because I have like the slick screen, the camouflage.
Yeah. Did you have to put a skin on the outside to mask its ugliness?
It's really hurtful.
Okay, so my free pick, iMovie. His free pick is DaVinci Resolve. I'd say my paid pick is Final Cut Pro. The pros of it, it's a one-time price. Also, you're able to kind of hit the ground running from iMovie. It looks the same, kind of the same layout. It gives you frame-by-frame editing. It gives you a lot more advanced color correcting. And above all, it gives you a lot more tools to use at your disposal. If you're going to be vlogging your whole trip, and I see some of these people shooting hours of footage, and you're going to want to churn that out and put it all together into one video that can be hours. It's going to be easy to render that out on your Mac using Final Cut Pro.
It also depends on what you're filming at. Like if you're vlogging your footage, I mean, the other thing to consider is what's going to handle what better. 1080p, Premiere Pro handles 1080p like a boss. Obviously, it's 1080p. So does Final Cut. But again, if you have a PC, you can always, a lot of this is subjective too, depending on what resolution you're shooting it. Mm-hmm. I'm speaking specifically to like 5K and 4K footage.
Another good thing that we didn't discuss about Final Cut Pro is its background rendering. So I mean,
I want that so bad.
Basically, whenever you make any sort of change within Premiere Pro, it just sits there. And then you've got to tell it to render. But the good thing about Final Cut Pro is you can run in there, you can change the colors of a certain thing, and it just starts rendering like that in the background. You can see real time above what else is left to render, whatnot. And even when I have footage that has not been rendered and I go and I play it back, it still plays back smooth. I never have any jumping frames.
Premiere is getting better with that. Obviously, H.265 is a big problem, which we'll talk about that in another video, but H.265 can, we'll talk about that.
Agreed. So again, what is your paid pick?
Paid pick is going to be Premiere Pro all day Premiere Pro.
And everything we talked about in this video is really not going to be a bad choice. Again, when I say what's the best editing software, they're all the best. They're all great.
My favorite YouTuber uses Premiere Pro, so I'm going to have to go with what she uses.
Who is it?
Sarah Dietschy, dude.
She uses Premiere Pro?
Yeah, Adobe fan.
All right, well, I'm Team Premiere.
All
right, guys, let us know what you guys think is the best editing software down in the comment section below. Let us know what you guys are using currently. If you guys are using any sort of editing software, we'd love to know. I think, I'm going to have to try DaVinci.
We'll try. I'm going to make you try it.
I'm going to have to try it. He's been telling me that the warp stabilizer is pretty good, so I'll have to try it out.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, let us know what you think about this podcast down in the comments below. We'll see you guys again next Sunday. See ya.
Later.